गुरुभ्यो परमगुरुभ्यो श्रीमदानंदतीर्थ भगवत्पादाचार्योभ्यो नमो नमः। नारायण परिपूर्ण गुणार्णवाय विश्वोदय स्थितितोलय नियतिप्रताय ज्ञानप्रताय विबुधा सुर सौख्य दुःख सत्कारणाय विददाय नमो नमस्ते। यो विप्रलिम्ब विपरीतमतिप्रबुधां वादान्नरस्य कृतवान् भुवितत्ववादं सर्वेश्वरो हरिरीति प्रतिपादकं तम् आनन्दतीर्थमुनिवयं नमामि। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च पचतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Welcome friends, we are into the second Valli, towards the penultimate mantras of the Kathopanishad. So we are just getting into the most philosophical, the most important philosophical aspects of Sanatana Dharma. The mantra what we have seen last week is a very important mantra. Though we have explained, in cursory basis, we will just go into little bit into the deep meaning of the whatever the the inner meaning of the entire mantra as has been taken into for the interpretation by the various acharyas. Then we will proceed for the next mantra onwards. This is 1.2.20. It's in your page 57 of the mantra, which we have seen last week. Anor aniyan mahato mahiyan. Na atma anoraniyan mahito mahima atma asya jantoho nihita guhayam. In the sense, anoraniyan mahato mahiyam, in the sense, the Brahman, what we call is as Brahman or consciousness or awareness, whatever you call it, whatever you attribute, if the Brahman is Vishnu, the Brahman is Shiva, and even some Brahman is Ganesha in some particular segment of the Hindu philosophical stream. And in Shakti Upasana, it is Shakti. Everything is called like a Brahman and all. So when we take whoever is the Brahman, whoever is the highest power, who is supposed to have created this world as well as given us the entire experience in this world, and who is also not, because Anur Aniyan is subtlest of the subtlest. The soul is supposed to be subtle. The Brahman is supposed to be subtler than subtle. In the sense, subtlest of all. Despite the fact, even though you are subtle, whatever be subtle, he gets into further, he is subtler and you will not be able to know. And then Mahito Mahiyan, in the sense, he is the biggest of the big. When you are seeing, the Vishwarupa, when it is being described in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when he takes such a huge form to show who is he, as he is not able to even stand with the physical eyes, you need the Divya Drishti. Through your Agnya Chakra, there only, you will be able to see, because he is not possible to be seen by the entire, the physical eye and all, because he is beyond that. He is beyond the body, mind and intellect and sensual perception. He is beyond everything. But then, he has given this body, mind and intellect through which we'll have to use it and get it, and then transcend that and get that particular vision of the God. That is why Vishwarupa is a very big concept. Even the 11th chapter, when that particular mantra is being described, it has got a lot of philosophical intonation. It's not simply a vision, that anyone would look for a magical vision in any of the movies, or as you would physically, we will try to imagine. It's beyond the mind. So when it is being called Mahito Mahiyan, Aniron Aniyan, in the sense, he is the subtlest, in the sense, he will not be able to be within your grasp. If you want to grasp him, by your own sort of scientific, the temperament, and you want to see, that's why, this Upanishad itself, somewhere we have seen, Nayesha Tatkeniya Madhyapaneya, in the Madharapaniya, in the sense, you will not be able to determine, what is the highest power through logic, through argument. You will not be able to do. It is only by getting into your Adhyatma. When you are going into Adhyatma, you give up slowly your luggages, your sort of affinity to the world, your experience in the world, which you have already gathered. Using that, you are slowly giving up. Finally, you get into that vision. So this is exactly, this mantra is said, but it is not a mumbo jumbo what the Upanishad is talking about. It is beyond the grasp of everything. Then why should we be talking about it? That is first question that will come. The question comes when it is so difficult to comprehend, why should it be? It's not that. It is certainly possible to comprehend if you are able to elevate, understand your existence. What is the purpose of your existence? Why we have come? How do we realize ourselves? How do we say, it is me? It is by name. Whatever name and form, how we are identifying ourselves, because we have got the awareness of our own existence. We are existing, and because we say we are capable of doing something with this body, mind and intellect which has been given to us. That is the awareness. That awareness finally transforms into consciousness, because the consciousness in which we are not able to determine, by virtue of the consciousness only, as Advaita says, we are able to have the awareness. If the awareness is not there, we will not be able to identify who we are. We will not be able to attach every action what we are doing, because to ourselves. Whatever successes we have got, we do it, we attach it to ourselves. And whatever, the miseries, they say it is my own misery. We try to take even the ownership of the misery. I am suffering. You don't say, when something happens to you, it is someone else is suffering, the world is suffering. It's not me alone suffering, that doesn't come. When it happens, a misfortune comes, it is me. I have got it. Why we call it? Because the ownership is there. That is the awareness of me. When it is there, the me, it is basically, not only the awareness of me, this body, mind and intellect, it is also the ego. The ego is, whatever action that is culminated, from your own thoughts, and you think, it is because of you have done it, and that's why, it got it and all. That's why, one of the concepts we explained, in the couple of sessions before, you are not the doer, that we don't realize in the normal course of the life. How do we know? Because we say I am doing everything. How can you say I am not the doer? Because that is where exactly the concept is very difficult to understand, that we have explained in detail why we are not the doer. Doer in the sense, whatever happens to us, even when you have good thoughts, when you do everything and all, sometimes, what you think, doesn't materialize. What you think doesn't happen. Sometimes, it happens. But you think, when it happens, it is me, I have put in all my effort, I have strategized, I have worked very hard and I have taken the right decision. That's how it, that's what, the human mind will be able to take. When it doesn't happen, then you see, look, I have done everything and all, in the sense, it is all happening to so many others. I am not happening. So even when it doesn't happen, you are not able to, your clarity to analyze the reason what went wrong and what you could have done better, because that approach doesn't come immediately at all. You just see the others have done, they have got it. Why I have not got? Because that is the type of sort of feeling one would get. So, but how it happens? Why it happens sometimes? Why it doesn't happen sometimes? In the sense, sometimes it happens. That's what we tried to explain, through an analogy 2 weeks before. When it happens, it's all your vasanas that comes with you in this birth. Why we have taken the birth? To exhaust the vasanas. The vasanas control all your actions. If there are no vasanas, perhaps we would not have had the birth at all. The vasanas, the other name we call it is prarabdha karma. Prarabdha in whatever has happened and all. So when everything is whatever happening is because what we have accumulated, all the plus and minuses of our action. The minuses of our action will have to be exhausted. The plus of the action that gives us sort of a energy to live, acquire the good knowledge, as well as to elevate ourselves. The minus one, which we are trying to exhaust, because to experience, it is not that you will have to always suffer and all. The experience is that makes you to think and see, understand who you are, and how you can elevate to the further, because the next stage of elevation, how you can attain. That is what in Adhyatma, it is a continuous improvement. It is not one time. You have gone into Adhyatma is the beginning. Once you have gone into Adhyatma, there is no end to it. Till such time you go on experiencing this life and you are refining yourself. And the more you refine, more you get into the higher dimension. It is like sort of a honing a sort of a steel, by constant putting into the fire, the baptized by fire, finally you are getting into the sharp, because when you say cutting edge, when you get the cutting edge, that is what, when you are able to get the cutting edge, in the sense you are not affected, because if you are not able to hold yourself the cutting edge, it may cut also, otherwise it may take you, out from the entire suffering, and it takes you to the higher dimension of the bliss. Both it can do. It depends upon how you are able to hold yourself without vacillation, without wobbling into every circumstances. That is not reacting to every action. The reaction to every action takes place because we are not able to apply our intellect by discriminating what is right and what is wrong based on whatever knowledge we have accumulated. We have got the treasure of the knowledge. We are not able to access the treasure of the knowledge. That is what exactly in the mantra is. Na atmasya jantoho nihito guhaya. So even though he is subtlest of the subtlest, biggest of the biggest, he is still trying to give you energy and be with you in you, because to give you that entire energy, wherewithal, to face the world, as well as do everything, what you think, will have to be done by virtue of your own evolution in this world. He is there always in all the jantus, not only as all the living beings. He is there and he is activating. That is what the Sanatana Dharma says. He is everywhere, because Anging Ganadabadi Engum Pragasamai Ananda Purtiyanade. That's what Taimanavar is. He is everywhere. He is and within us, within and without. And we always work with without whatever is outside, that gives us the experience. We are able to apply our thought on that. We are able to strategize on those things, but we don't find a strategy for most important thing, ourselves, into our Adhyatma journey. When you get into the Adhyatma, then you find what a great, because the tunnel you will have to travel through, where you are going to get the final bliss, and where you will be able to take out of all these tiny things, which you find it as happenings, happiness and sufferings and all. You beyond everything and all. It is always happiness, constant happiness, 24/7 happiness. That comes only through your internal journey, their contemplation. So this is exactly, because nowadays, and I will also explain as to now the science of consciousness has become a subject in most of the universities. And I will also talk about, because one or two, the great scholars, because who are trying to, the great, who are very well versed in our scriptures, how they are trying to explain it in form of the form of the scientific, knowledge. Because the radical mind, the modern mind, it looks for everything with a proof, as well as everything with a sort of a reason, logic. Otherwise, they are not able to accept. Because even to existence of a God, you are not able to accept. Those who are still questioning, because you think, if God is existing, why so many things which is not happening? If God is existing, it doesn't mean that something good only be happening, something other thing should not be happening. It is the law of the nature, because the Prakriti, what has been created, how we have kept the nature, how we have interacted with the nature, it depends upon that. We never realize that it is our own interaction with the nature which has caused all these things. It is not the God who has caused all these things. God has given us the energy to deal appropriately with the nature and appropriately live in this world. But we have not taken, to the highest level to which, we could be, we can take it under. We are still in the elementary stage, we are still in the empirical stage, we have lived in. We have not gone into the fully blown, the developed stage. Because if we have gone about, that is what Adhyatma, once everyone thinks. Why, some of the countries, the climate, the carbon index is, very high, for some countries, as per the UN sort of index. And some countries, it is coming down, because they are able to control the carbon emission and all. How it is possible? It is not the carbon emission by processes and all. It is the human beings who are interacting, and they have been conscious enough to reduce the carbon emission. See how we also know how carbon emission can be, because we are no less intelligent. We have got all the information, because in the internet world, we get everything in a jiffy. But despite that, we are not able to sort of change our attitude, change our action, change our thinking, so that we are not able to consciously do the things, so that finally it's not only for us, it is for the society at large, it is for the country at large, our own country, and this for the world at large. We are going to have the benefit, and we are going to derive the benefit for everyone. It is a common good. But that we are not. This is exactly when he says Anuraniyan Mahito Mahiyan. The sense, it's the biggest of big. Whatever it is, the concept has been given, the paradox has been given. The paradox, perplexing paradoxes that is being always brought out in the Upanishad is to bring out the exquisite way you can live in this world by virtue of the God-given power in consonance with the nature and other beings. This is what we are not able to do. This is repeatedly brought in, every at least third or fourth mantras of this Upanishad. Now, Atmasya Jantoha Nito Guhayam, it is there. Understanding that, why still we are not able to? Tam Akratu Pashyati Vita Shoki. Tam Akratu Pashyati in the sense, Tam Akratu in the sense. Akratu has got a two meaning. One is I is called the Brahman. Aksharam is called the highest power in this world. Akshar, Akshar Patel, Akshar Sinha, Akshar Chaudhary, the names are there. Akshar in the sense highest. It denotes the highest power. It is Brahman, as per our Sanatana Dharma. Akshar is the one, is a sort of, you can call it Mahavishnu, or he is called Narayana, whoever it called. Even Shankaracharya preferred to call it Narayana. Or even Shivam. Shivam is he's the one highest bliss giver. You cannot give the bliss from Shibhogam, and he says finally he's the one is giving it. When you got Tam Akratu, in the sense when you totally surrender, totally sort of, you have got longing, because the longing in the sense that it is, you at the cost of everything, at the cost of losing yourself, you have got a love. Because like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he was being, during his heydays, he was not considered to be a sort of a Paramahamsa or the great guru and all. People thought he's a madman. He has got hallucinations. He was thinking, he was telling everyone, I have seen the God, I have talked to God, I have talked to that Kali in Dakshineswar. She was only Bhavadharini, because I have talked to her, and she's the one who is giving me all the energy. And she told me that, this is likely to happen. People are, if I, you and me say, do you think people will believe? How can, the God who is not talking to me, how can she talk to you? What is so great about it? This is the question not only even not Tom, Dick and Harry has asked, even Vivekananda has asked. Why God alone chose to talk to you? Why is not talking to me? This is what, because we have quoted sometime, we have brought out this incident in elsewhere also. Earlier, when Vivekananda asked this question, Ramakrishna said, why do you say so? She can also talk to you. Provided, because you are willing to talk, but we are not willing to talk. The conversation with the God, there are a lot of people who have experienced the conversation. All the acharyas have experienced the conversation of the God. All the mahans who have lived in this world, they have experienced the conversation of the God. Why we are not able to experience? Because we are not, even when the God talks, we are not willing to listen. You will be able to listen when you only went to give your precious time to yourself, you contemplate and you think, the source who you are and what you are and what is your connection with this world, why you have come here and what is the great purpose that is being assigned for your own development of this personal soul. You have to flourish to your full potential. That's what God wants. You've got a great way, great knowledge, a great road to travel. You've got a great things to attain, but you are not attaining. How God can help? He is always trying to talk to you. That is the conversation with the God. When Vivekananda asked the same thing, because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was, he said, okay, because I am going to take the bird, will you come to me? He took him into the Ganges. When the Ganges in the Dakshineswar, when Ganges was running, he was just trying to take the dip in the Ganges. As Vivekananda was able to take a dip, he just put his head down into the water for a while. Vivekananda couldn't breathe. He wanted to come out of the water. He was so sort of desperate. He came out. What is that you are doing? Just he came out. I am just so desperate, to get some fresh air, to breathe. Otherwise, I would have died. And he said, Paramahamsa said, you should have this much of a desperation in your love for the God. It is not that, you talk about it, you hear it. We will also see, one more mantra that is coming in this Upanishad. Na pravachanena. Because by studying the scriptures, by talking about it, by listening to that, you will not be able to get that. The love for the God will come only when you go into the internal journey. It's the love for the God in the sense how God will be manifested. God is manifested in His creation, all the beings. When you are able to be in love with the beings, in love with the nature, Prakriti, what He has created, that brings about, slowly there is a beginning. Slowly you will realize that mystic power that comes into you. You are capable of getting it. Every one of us can become a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa if we are attuned, if we are conditioned enough to get that particular sort of attitude. Are we able to get it? This is exactly this mantra tells. Tam akrutu pashyati vitashoke. Once you get it to that, once you are able to get that pashyati with the vision, divine vision, when you are able to get that divya darshan, once you are able to get that vitashoka, there is no question of any sorrow. It all just dies down, because in the rays of the sun, as all, this at the mornings, the dews, the goes off like that, it goes off. Once you light a lamp, even in a small room, the entire light will dispel the darkness in that, and it goes off like that. That is exactly Vita Shoke. Dhatu Prasada, that is what is Dhatu Prasadat, Mahimanam Atmanaha. Mahiman. See, Dhatu Prasadat, Mahimanam Atmanaha. How it happens. When you are, even if you are going into the internal journey and all, you will always think, because everyone has got it, I am not able to get it. It needs the God's grace. That's what it is. God's grace, why, because, there are always, one question that will come. I think it is a common question to every human being at an empirical level, even if they have not heard anything at all. When some suffering happens and all, we say it is all prarabdha karma. You carried it, you got the account in the previous earlier births and you are carrying it. When something good happens, we say, God's grace. And it's not your own and you are not the doer. That's also we say. What is this double standard? When something happens to me, I am responsible. Something happens, where I feel, I am sorrow and all, when I am having a misfortune, it is I am responsible. Something good happens, it is God's grace. God will come, whenever something good happens, like Indian policeman, when everything is over, he will come. And he will say, we have solved the case and all. But finally, this case must have been solved on its own. This is exactly, because in this only, we will have to go into the Adhyatma. We will have to understand that we are not the doer. So when, something happens, as a sorrow, or something happens as a misfortune, it is, because our own development of not knowing who we are, that is the reason for that. And the second thing is, when something misfortune happens, we also take the ownership of we have done something by virtue of that only we have got it. I have been forced to do these things by virtue of that I have got this misfortune. Had I not done that, had I not been forced to do, I would not have got. This is normally, all of us, to find ourselves, because, I have done everything best. That is what, all of us think. But have we given our best? Have we got this sort of the mental condition to give our best? This is what exactly it will have to be worked out. So this, in this context only, it says it is not that you are not the doer in the sense. You have been doing everything, you have been power that has been assigned to do everything and all. The clarity of thought, every time, when something happens immediately, because it is always a sort of a course correction. When you are able to do, because I'm finding some problem here, am I able to do? But, once you are having a passion, once you have seen this is what I have got to do, you have taken a decision, you are going on doing it. There is no question of finding it on. You should have a goal. You should be inspired by that. But when you are doing that, when you are trying to give everything, without any sort of attachment, like, something, there may be two ways, but you will think this is the best way I would like, because I don't like that, because I'm not used to, nor, I've got some sort of a dislike for that. See, when you don't have that sort of luggages in your mind, you are able to take the correct path. What is being the right one, if you are able to do it. Because when you do a shortcut, anything and all, sometimes it fails. Most of the time it fails. Sometimes it succeeds. In our life also, what we do, we try to do whatever is the best with the least effort. It is like, GCM, what we used to do in the common denominator, we find what is the least sort of road, because which we can take to get the best result. That's what, human mind always does it, because you don't want to take the ordeal. The people who are willing to take, who are used to get the, who are used to do it, and who are able to get through that, they are able to get the benefit of it. That comes only through the clarity of mind. We are not able to do it, and that is why it is telling like that. And when we say we are not the doer in this, and we are not able to apply ourselves which we are capable of. So once you are able to apply yourself capable of, that is by the one, because your vasana, even if you have a vasana, you can able to correct it by constant, because sort of taking you into the dimension and seeing, getting the clarity of thought. That clarity of thought to get that only. All of us have not got the clarity of thought whenever we had a problem. And that clarity of thought only when you are able to get the Adhyatma journey. There is no other way. Only when you are able to travel inside towards and contemplate once in a while, even when you are puja room or energy room, you are able to give that 5 minute surrender without any of the afflictions of other thoughts. Let me say, he's the one, I think, because let me have, because his chatting comes in the form of a clarity of thoughts. That is the conversation with the God. The conversation with the God tell you what the right thing to do at the right point of time. And then it takes you to the right place. That's how it happens. This is Dasa Prasada Mahima. This happens mainly because in two ways, because the Bhakti school of, because like Visishtadvaita and Dvaita, because since they consider, the Brahman to be a Saguna Brahman, because as we see in even Advaita also, Saguna Brahman, till such time you get into that highest stage of Paramarthika. Till such time you will have to do all the prayers. Shankaracharya has written so many wonderful prayers, because in all the slokas, it's all meant for taking it towards the Saguna Brahman, and you will be. It is only one aspect of the God. Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman are not very different. One aspect of the God. When you are able to see, the great qualities, when you are able to get all the great qualities, the qualities you will be able to get because one is possessing those qualities will be able to give it. That is how Saguna Brahman comes. But when you give up everything, renounce everything, and you don't need anything and all, you don't need any, even the qualities you need it because you are not going to anything and all. When you want, I have want the consciousness, the awareness which has to come, that is Nirguna Brahma. They are not very different. It is conceptually because our Shruti has got three Shrutis. Abheda Shruti, Veda Shruti, as well as Gataka Shruti. Abheda Shruti is the one where there is no difference. That is what Advaita has taken. That is, because Brahman is one and the same. Aham Brahmasmi, when it is said, is Abheda Shruti based on that. When Tattvavada, Advaita, when it says, there is a Veda, you will have to recognize the Veda. Vedas are meant for, showing you the right path, towards the right, with the sort of association with the right people towards the right goal. That is called Veda Shruti. That is also enshrined in our own scriptures. And Gataka Shruti, because which is not only Veda Abeda, because it could be Abeda some point of time, it could be Veda some point of time. That is a Visishtadvaita has taken. So the always, it gives you all the, because that's what, as the great masters have said, what is the question you are asking for? What is that you are looking for? You ask the scriptures, the Vedas, Upanishad, they will give you the answer to that. They will not be giving you one answer. They will give you depending upon the Shrutis and what you are looking for. Because that is needed for you to your own development. That is how these philosophies have come. The philosophies have come. Finally, you will have to attain the final goal given by the Veda, Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. And for that, you will have to change your attitude. You will have to change your thinking, and you will have to change your way of the world in which you are living in. How to have your sort of the actions oriented and reduce your reactions in this world, that you will have to do personally. You've got a personal responsibility. Philosophy will not affect, rather because bring come to your rescue. Philosophy will show you the way. Philosophy is a directional. It takes you, but once it takes, you will have to develop it. There could be hill you will have to cross. There will be have to be stream you will have to go through. There will be tunnels you will have to pass through. But all those things you will have to do with the help of philosophical thoughts that has been given by the great acharyas. Acharyas have given you that entire raft to cross through the entire samsara, but it is for you to do it. You can do with any of the philosophy. It is not that one philosophy is greater. It's not. Every philosophy has got its purpose. And once you understand, once you take, the best of it and you are able to change your own attitude and thoughts, you are able to get. Therefore, it is universal, infinite path towards the infinity. So there could be even some more paths could be there. But it is all depends upon the personal evolution of every person, how he is able to take the best out of that. This is what exactly, Dhatu Prasada, when he says it's the grace of the God, when it is being talked about, you are having, because the grace of the God, you are constantly on contemplative mood and you are able to get that and all, because you feel the grace of the God, it comes to you suddenly. You feel, because you have you feel, you will not be going to take, you will not be going to apply for a particular thing, or you are not going to be sort of meeting someone, because there is no purpose behind that and all. Somehow suddenly, something will happen, you happen to meet that person. Circumstances. You might have gone to your friend's place. You might have met him, and slowly, you would have got a new direction to your life. It might have come. That is God's grace. Because that we have not worked for that. It happened. That is God's grace. And it can happen without and within. When it happens without, it is grace of the God, because the bhakti, that is what, this Ishadvaita and Tattvavada Advaita. When you get within in the sense, when you are able to have a calm mind, without, all the desires slowly goes off and you are not working on any fruits, what am I going to get into? Because anything you work on this world, one out of 100 times only you will be able to get the desired results. This is almost, there is a Pareto principle. The 20% of the things are responsible for 80% of the effect. The 20% are, our own sort of a dogmas, our own conditionalities, and our own attitudinal thoughts, and our own sort of likes and dislikes. They are the one responsible for whatever is happening to us. Rest of the 80%, God has given to you everything correct. This 20% only we will have to correct. Pareto principle. Pareto is an Italian economist, and he brought this particular principle. This applies to our Sanatana Dharma also. Once you have that, you will be within. When you are able to, you are able to have a calm mind, contemplation. You are able to take. You will at that time, you have elevated yourself to a higher level. Because like someone, who was like going to be an acharya, who is somewhere, he has been done the adhyatma, because he has done, the he has gone through all the Upanishad scriptures. He has undertaken Sadagamekya Vignayam Samatirtha Characharam. It is not only having the scriptures as well as contemplation. See, what we thought, is the awareness, what we talk about is coming out of the contemplation. It is a contemplative psychology by which we feel awareness, and the awareness is coming just because the consciousness is working on us. But we are not aware of the consciousness. Because of the consciousness, we are aware of it. This may look, little, because this is what, everyone, the science of consciousness, what has been come about, is being done, is explained like this. This is exactly, the contemplative psychology. Whatever you think, you try to see, what is good for you, what is not good for you, and then just a minute. తర్వాత. So when you have the contemplative psychology, is every thought is like that. The awareness comes. That's why you are able to. You are going to, whether you are going to succeed in the exam is secondary, but you are going to write the exam is more important. So when you are conscious, that you will have to go to the exam hall, write it. That is the awareness you are going to do that. The rest of the things are depending upon what comes. If you are going with the awareness, your expectation is not part of the awareness. Awareness is you go and do it. But subsequently, then it's a vriddhi. One after the other thoughts comes. If I succeed, I will do that. If I have this percentage, I will go to IIT. If not, I will go to medicine. So many things you try to work on. All these things comes because of the awareness, because of the consciousness is working in us. That is why, whatever we say, we do everything and all. It is a contemplative psychology, and we are not aware of it, but we continuously do. Most of the time, we do by reaction, not by action, proactive action. That is why most of the things you don't get the best results. You don't get the expected results. The 20% of the thing is our ability to react. If you bring it down to 10%, 8%, and further down and all, then everything mostly will be able to. That's why Avayar, when she wrote, because this her own, this formula for this. Ondai ninakkin adu olindittu ondraagum. If you try to work for something, the chances are it may not happen the way you want it. Andri adi varunum vandai, andri adi varinum vandairu. Sometimes it may happen also. That is by chance. What is happening, will be by chance. What will not happen is by rule. This is what she said. Because once you have that attitude, you will not be expecting. You will not be expecting in the sense you will be trying to give our best. Let me do it. It may not happen, but maybe it may happen also. It's not that you have to be pessimist, but don't go with the expectation, try to do everything and all, but try to give your best. Because if you have the expectation, it prevents you from giving the best. This is what exactly it talked about. This is what the mantra said. The next mantra is 1.2.20. It is a sort of a mantra which has come in other Upanishads also. It has come here, because it has come to explain, because this is the last question what Nachiketa has asked. What is this? The soul, after the death, what happens to it? How it happens? And who is the power, who is controlling the soul? Because the soul can have, though it is ajaha, when we said, it doesn't have a birth, it doesn't have a death, and it is always permanent. All those things when we say, once you have said all those things, because he understands, Nachiketa has got all the conditionalities to understand just like that. But he goes on giving, various dimensions so that his understanding is perfect in plenitude. So then he says, the mantra 1.2.21, it is contradiction in the sense. He says, Asino Duram Vrajati. The mantra reads, Asino Duram Vrajati, Shayano Yati Sarvataha. Asino Duram Vrajati, in the sense, while sitting, it travels fast. The consciousness, or when you want to call it Brahman and everything and all, it travels fast. In the sense, it is also applied to the soul. When you are sitting here, your mind, when you are in this session, and your mind may be somewhere else. Because maybe, it's not that, without purpose. It does have a purpose. Maybe after 1 hour, you got to get some message or you have to do something and all, because those things will come. Asino duram rajati shayano yati sarvataha. Even while you are lying down, and you are everywhere. In the sense, you may be thinking about, your children in UK or US or your friends, elsewhere, they are likely to come, because they are far off places. Or you may be traveling, because maybe 6 months hence, you got a plan to travel. Or, you are thinking about someone who has given a message, because for which, you will have to take some actions and you are going to do that and all. So likewise, when you are sitting in India and in this place and your mind will be elsewhere, maybe any country, any place with any person and all. So that is exactly what he says is even what we says is the Brahman, the highest power, his center is everywhere. It doesn't have any circumference. Anginganadabadi engum prakasamai ananda purtiyanadedhu. That is what Taiman was. Kangul Pahal, because instead of that, day and night is not there. He is there everywhere and all. And on that power, and he is not to be understood by anyone. He is not coming with anyone's grasp. You will not be able to comprehend him. You will be able to apprehend because of some experiences here and there and by what people have told you and all. Having done so many things and finally all those things and all, still you are able to get. And then what you do, because you are trying to get, follow the particular philosophy which you are familiar with, because you are born perhaps, in that family who are professing the philosophy, or you might have taken interest in the philosophy, you will be following and all. When you are doing that, because when you say, because the Bhakti school will say Vishnu is superior, and because others will say Shiva is superior, and some other, if you go to Ganapati Upasana is there, Ganesha is the ultimate, he is the Ganapati, Pati of all the Ganas. Nishusi the Ganapate, Ganeshutvam Ahu, Pradamam Kamina, Narate Twatkriyate, Kinchanare, Maham Margam Chitramach. That's what we say in the beginning of the puja. We say, Ganesha, you come, sit in me, get everything done by me. I am not the doer, I am only an instrument. But when we say, because when you are in the school of the, depending upon, your procedure, we say Vishnu comes. Vishnu is the Adipati of Gana, and Ganesha is the Pranava, he is symbol of Pranava. So Vishnu comes through the Pranava symbol and he comes in us, he gets the entire puja done. I am not doing it. Even Argyam, Padyam, everything, he gets it done. Because even while doing Argyam, suddenly my fingers don't work. Where is the Argyam? Nothing is there. See, that is how, even though wherever is there, he is able to give you that energy and all. That is why I am not getting it done. I am only an instrument. When you are an instrument, you should know what type of instrument you are. That is what knowing who you are. When you are knowing who you are, and then you find, this is exactly, you find all these things, you are wrangling about, all these things, all the luggages you have carried about, all the sleepless nights you had about are all meaningless. Why did you have this? I think you are not supposed to be. You are a happiness embodiment. You are divinity embodiment. You are not supposed to be. God says, you are only an instrument. You are doing it. Why are you bothered about it? But whatever happens, it's not happened to the soul, which is Ajaha, which is permanent. Like Brahman, the soul is also supposed to be permanent, which we have explained later. Ajaha, because we also Na hantaram, we quoted to the neither, na hantaha, na hantaram, as Bhagavad Gita says, you are not the one who is going to kill, or nor you are one going to be killed. So when it is there, why are you worried about it? You just go about it with your own way and work. You will have to act positively without any of these things. Then in that case, whatever happens, as Avaya has said, let it come, happen. Whatever happens, let me do my job. This is what exactly. You just do your duty. Why are you? But Avaya has said in different ways. Taimanava has said, in a different way. And so is Bhagavad Gita has said. This mantra also says like that. This is exactly, because when you are trying to give the best in that, your thoughts, your skill, that is the Brahman. Finally, when it comes, the clarity of thought comes. You don't have any likes and dislikes. You have got to do perfectly, as much as possible. And everyone else is contributing to your effort in their own way, and you are also contributing. It is interactive. The entire world is interactive. We have got some connections which we are not able to sort of understand. That's why we have dislike. Even the person whom you have disliked might have contributed, might have brought you a good thought, might have brought you a good lesson to your this one. Perhaps he would have also been responsible for some of your glorious achievements, but still you may dislike him because your vasanas, your attitude, you think a person should come in this way and all. Because we are living in a world, if you are coming in a BMW, that is something different, and if you are coming in a cycle, it is something different. We look at that, and because all those conditionalities have gone into our mind. We are not able to see everyone equal, though the scripture says, and we also understand that is correct. At least, at that point of time. Then we come back, like a dog style. So that is why, the great scriptures and all, they will not be able to create a perfect world. Because the world will be what it is like that. If you want to straighten the dog's tail, will you be able to love the dog? The dog will have to tail the way it is. Dog will have to sort of cuddle itself, the way it does it. Then only you like the dog. The pet dog you will be able to like. It has got a straight, the tail, and it is all perfect. You will not be able to. The world will be able to have its with own imperfections. It has got the wonder. You should be able to see the wonder of everything. There is no imperfection and all. Everything is perfect in God's creation. Once you understand that, you will not be trying to change the world, nor you will be changed by the world. The world has got its own way. This wonder of the world. You be here, but then your job is to do your duty and go forward. Karmanyeva adhikarastu. That is what. Let me not react. And the varunam mandaidam. Let me take it. So this is what exactly this mantra. Asino dure vrajati shayano yati sarvataha. This is the inner etymological meaning of this mantra. Kastam madamatam devam madanyatu jnatum arhati. Kastam madamatam devam jnatu. God who rejoices and see when you have suffering and happiness. Madamatam is happiness and suffering. Kastam. Katham, the God, because whether God gives or the consciousness you acted and you react, whatever is God gives, who rejoices and rejoices not, but you are not able to comprehend him. You and I am not able to comprehend him, because see in this invocation mantra of this particular session, every time what we talk about, Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyati Prataya Narayana Paripurna Gunondevaya. This is, you've got all the auspicious qualities, all sattvic, all the qualities of power. You are omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. You are Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stiti Layon Niyati Prataya. Who is responsible, whose power has created this world, whose power is protecting this world. Finally, when the world is going to dissolve, it is going to be by you, because the only power who can do is the Brahman. The creation, maintenance and destruction, whoever it does it, he is Brahman. Whether you call it Narayana, you call it Shivoham, you call it Ganapati, you call it Sakti, everything, all same. It is all same. So that is the power, which is going to get. If that is the case, if you are going to give all these things, how am I to take this? Because the Madamata, Narayana Paripurna Gudarnamaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyadi Prataya Jnana Prataya. You are giving me that knowledge of what is good, what is not good, by virtue of pratyaksha, whatever I am experiencing this world. Pratyaksha bhava is very important. See, because sakshatkara, because Advaita says sakshatkara, because pratyaksha is what a pratyaksha, anumana, and shrabda. They are the three modes of understanding the entire scriptures, internalizing it, and elevating yourself. Pratyaksha is whatever you are experiencing. You don't have to go by the scriptures. You don't have to go by the experiences of other masters, other persons. You've got your own experience to claim for. When you've got pratyaksha, you cannot be having a better than that. But are you now able to apply, what you learn from the pratyaksha? That we don't do it. That is why we react. If we have known that, we would not have reacted to most of the situation. We have allowed it to go by. Because pratyaksha, once you have done, a moment of contemplation, moment of, this manana, the Shravana Manana, when you say that repeated contemplation, contemplative psychology, what they call it in scientific terms. When it comes, you understand, because look, I don't need to talk in this particular situation, or I should not have said that I did not have to do all these things to demonstrate. Most of the time you are trying to do because just it is for the benefit of others. You want others to see, how you are capable of it. Once you start living for yourself, once you start living, knowing as to who you are to yourself, when you have to live by your own esteem, when you have to live by your own matrix, you will have to go by your own matrix, not anyone else's. You've got a great sort of matrix available with you. You've got a great power available with you. Don't live for others. You live for yourself. Then you find what a great thing, because this is what exactly Upanishad Madamatam, when you see that the happiness and suffering which comes because you couldn't go by your own estimation to your level. You assess yourself by your own metrics. Don't go comparing it, because you should not be judgmental. You should not be comparing with others. You should go by your own experience, by your own repetitive sort of a contemplation, be it meditation or be it by doing some pujas or by constant, because you are having your own yoga, whatever is there. Yoga is finally what is that? Your union with the ultimate power. That is what yoga. Even the Sankhya philosophy, because Kapila, who has propounded, Kapila is nothing but avatar of Vishnu, the son of Atiti, because Kashyapa Rishi and Atiti, because son, who finally brought this Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, because Krishna says, I am as in the form of Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is nothing but, it has got both the components. You got the devotion as well as, you got the Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, everything can be explained. There was one Ishwar Krishna, who can written the Karika for this, because it is a Samkhya Yoga is a different subject altogether, but it is all the entire Bhagavad Gita, is bringing all the Samkhya concept. Your scriptures bring the Samkhya concept, and because once you have that, you will not have the conditionality. This is what exactly it says. So the happiness and Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya. That's what the invocation says. Vibhudasura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya. Saukya and Dukkha, you are the reason for happiness, you are the reason for unhappiness or sorrow, in the sense. Why God should be reason for unhappiness and all? He's not unhappy. He wants you to get the best of experience. The experience, in your, since you are not gone by your own estimate in your metrics, appears to be sorrow. And basically, once you understand, because the ephemeral aspect of the world, and when because in your own matrix, what it is, that you will be able to stand by any misfortune, any sorrow, and you will be able to derive everything, you will use it as a tool to always get the bliss out. You will not be totally be, taken away, taken over by the happiness also, because, it is momentary. The happiness, what is there in the worldly happiness, it is only for that moment. That's all, it will go next moment. You will be happy when you got something for the day. When you purchased a new mobile, because for 1 month, you will be fiddling with it and you will be keeping it. And after 1 month, it will be lying somewhere. Because you got, so many, because you using it as an instrument for your own communication, not that. It does have all the attraction only for some time. This happens in all our relationship also. It all happens. But then to keep these things going, and once you see, what is the reality of that, everyone has got their own purpose of the life. I have got what my purpose of the life. I will not be intimidating. I will have to find, because my own growth path through my own adhyatma.
If possible, others will also go by, they will also be going by their own adhyatma. We don't know that. They might also be elevating in their own way. When all of us are able to do that, we will be able to give respect and get across to each other, and we will go for the benefit of it's a mutual fund. The entire world is a mutual fund. You will be able to contribute something to other and get something for the give and take. When the God is said, Swatantra, and because the souls are considered to be asatvantra, because when the God is independent, the soul is not independent. That's what Tattvavada says. Even in this concept, when you are not independent, you are interdependent. Without being interdependent, you can't be dependent. Therefore, because that is why, Pattvacharya, when he said, what is the highest duty? Karmanyeva adhikarastu, when he said, what is the karma? Kurvate karma yat pritaye sajjanaha. That's because whenever someone is in sort of distress, whenever someone is there, go and help him. Nana janasya shushushu karmaha. You will have to, because he is God's creation. When you want to see the God, first see his creation and try to be helpful to him, and then go to the God. Through him, get the God. See, that's what in Isavarsha Upanishad also, because everywhere the God is there in everyone. That's what the mantra says. Vijigupsate, because he is there. He is inside everyone. When he is there inside everyone, but same God, which is inside me, because Adhyatma, whether it is Saguna Brahman or Nirguna Brahman or Aham Brahmasmi, or because the Brahma is different, he is giving me the grace out, without, and he is giving me the grace within, whoever it may be. Finally, his creations are there. In his creations, all Jantus are there, and all the Stavara Sangama is there. We will have to live with the nature, we will have to live with everyone, and finally that is where you will be able to get your own elevation for your own benefit. It is not that you are giving some gratis to others. It is for your own growth says. This is what Upanishad says. Don't think Jnatum Arhati, because Madanyo Jnatum Arhati, in the sense I become Arhata, because Arhakade, because what in Arhantanam, because when Jains say Arhantanam, you becomes eligible. You should be capable of, you should have the qualification. You are entitled to. That is Arhata. Matu Harati, in the sense, I should become capable of getting that, and for that I should live up to those standards. Those standards are your own standards. You will have to evolve your own standards. Don't go by someone else's standards. Don't go by someone else, what he says and all. Go by that. Very often what happens, you are being weaned away, taken away from your own potential by comparing yourself, by judgmental about ourselves and glorifying others and whom you like, because they have done something great, in your metrics of success. That is no metrics of success in this world at all. You will have to live the glorious life all through. The journey of the life is success. The journey of the life is glory. Yase Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Sri Vijayo Putir Dhruvanitir Matirmama. Where your skill is there, when you are able to reduce all your reactive energies and give proactive positive energies to you, and when you are able to find your own metrics in consonance with your own evolution, when you are able to go through, and when you are able to see the entire, find out, the apprehend God, in terms of its creation, and live in consonance with the other creatures, other beings, as well as other flora and fauna, and be, in the sort of, this is what exactly the climatic thing and all, because something people are talking about, this is all ingrained, it's all infused, it is part of our own philosophy and Upanishad. This is what exactly it says. Once you have that, you do not have any problem whatsoever. That is what is required for you to go up much higher, and then you will be realizing the great glory of your soul. It doesn't have any birth, it doesn't have any death. It is glorified, because then you will be able to get Nana Janasya Shushrushur Karmaha once you then Nichocha Bhavam Gataha. You will flourish to your full potential in this life, what you are ordained to. That is, you will be able to live as happiness personified, divinity personified, and evolve yourself to the highest what God has given you the potential. If you want to get that potential, you have all this attitude. This is what this mantra has said. The next mantra onwards, this will be still some more interesting aspects will come that we will also see in how best it has come about. that I was talking about, the contemplative psychology. Nowadays, because the science of consciousness, though it is not a subject to be dealt as science, because the Upanishad itself has said, because this entire Brahma Vidya, or what we discuss about Brahma Vidya, is not amenable to logic. You cannot bring it into the scientific terms. In spite of it, the attempt has been made. Of course, they also say, because we are not going by the scriptures, still we make an attempt, because a lot of people want a rationalist explanation. Why we should have all these attitudes, how our scripture should be read. Because, why, why it doesn't have any, how doesn't have any, so many sort of, why and how will not have any answers. So to bring about, they are trying to bring about consciousness is also being defined, because of all sorts of awareness. Awareness is the consciousness, and the consciousness is also being talked about, different terminologies, in the scientific terminologies. There were, you will be surprised to know, more than about dozen universities have got the science of consciousness as a stream. People are doing masters and they are also doing doctorates. Not only in foreign universities, in IIT Delhi also there is a sort of a stream, and I will talk about it next week. It will be of some interest to you. Though our rishis and all, they did not desire and did not want to be done, because by virtue of the compulsions of the time, it has been trying. Some of the masters have tried to evolve and try to bring it out, so that the people will be able to make a beginning and attempt. Finally, they can come into the scriptures as the scriptures would demand, without any logic. So this is the highest course of happiness. That is what the Upanishad has brought us, and I will try to conclude today's session, and we will be having the other concept and how science of consciousness is being taken up, by the universities next week. So I will complete it. Now we will be having a small meditation. This time we are going to have one of the fantastic suktam, Pavamana Suktam. And the Pavamana Suktam also we will talk about, what is the purpose of it and what is the great, the important meaning behind that, and how our rishis and all the great acharyas have recommended Pavamana Suktam to be performed Ekadasi, Paurnami, as well as on Saturdays. So today being a Saturday, I have taken up this Pavamana Suktam. We will go for the meditation immediately after that. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi, Tejasvinavati Namastuma Vishvidavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.